to last. With the webs I'm weaving, I could change the past. With all I'm achieving, got my foot on gas. Never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grave and put your foot on the gas.
In this arms race that has become the AFC West, where every team's consistently getting better, the Raiders are getting better, the Broncos are getting better, the Chargers are getting better, and you see the Chiefs, the only ones are losing assets, it's hard not to think that they're kind of the loser of the offseason without knowing what those draft picks will become, because draft picks are the mystery box. You already had Tyreek Hill in-house. Now you're just hoping you could get someone as good as Tyreek Hill. Right. Juju Smith-Schuster, I don't think makes up for the loss of Tyreek on that roster. Darian, my first real question to you in regards to the AFC West, do you think that the Raiders won the offseason? How do you rank them amongst the other AFC West teams?
This is a tough one because you got to see what the Chargers did. You see what Denver going out and getting Russell Wilson. Mind you, Denver was only a quarterback away. If you look at the wide receiver core that they have, with Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, but now you don't have no Noah Fant there. So now you lose a weapon within that trade. So I would have to put Kansas City at 4 because they lost more than what they gained when it came to the free agency. Then I have to put Denver there at number 3. Because of, you did go out and get Russell Wilson. You still got to beef up their offensive line. You still got to get younger at the running back position. Defense is always going to be the defense when it comes to, we always known them for having a good defense. They was just a quarterback away. So we got to see what they do with Russell Wilson. I would have to put the Chargers at 2, even though they got my former guy, Khalil Mack over there, and they went and got J.C. Jackson that the Raiders was really big on. I still feel like at the end of the day that getting Davante Adams to the Las Vegas Raiders, that was one of the biggest acquisitions in the division with that trade. And we only gave up a first and second round pick this year only for Davante Adams. So technically it was a steal for us. The Packers just got a bunch of, chips and peanuts for Davante Adams. So, I mean, I have to say the Raiders won this, but I think we still have a lot to be done. It's still more moves need to be done. But right now, I just feel like the Raiders they did what they needed to be done. We cut a lot of people, and that's why Davante Adams got his contract. But I say Raiders as ranking them as number 1 in the free agency for the AFC West.
Well, what did you make of the Chandler Jones signing? They traded Yannick Ngakoue for Rock Ya-Sin, which was interesting, but also Ngakoue was on a 1-year deal, and it was an interesting turnaround for the defense. They lose Casey Hayward, obviously. They're still looking at middle linebackers. What did you make of what they did defensively?
Defensively, I think we went with a Chandler Jones, knowing that Chandler Jones could stop the run and he could pass rush. That was the weakness for Yannick Ngakoue. He could not stop the run on the edge at all. He was a great pass rusher. He had 10 sacks for us last season, and I truly respect it. But stopping the run, that was our weakest point on his side of the football. So that's why we went and got Chandler Jones. Once we signed Chandler Jones, you see right after that, we went out and we traded Yannick Ngakoue for, Rock Ya-Sin, which was a player trade. And I think Rock Ya-Sin is a young, talented corner. Casey Hayward is getting up there in age. I know he had a great year with us last year under Gus Bradley, but I still feel like, Rock Ya-Sin, he did really well over in Indianapolis. He could definitely come in and contribute under Patrick Graham's defense. And Chandler Jones and Max Crosby is going to do numbers. They're really going to do numbers. People feel like Chandler Jones is up there in age, but he knows this. He knows the Patriots background, of course, as usual. So, I mean, defensively, I think it's some moves that still need to be made as far as like the safety position for depth pieces. Defensive tackles, we did go out and get like Vernon Butler yesterday. We did go get another guy from the Tennessee Titans. I think it was Kyle Pico or something like that, and Kyle Frackrell. We got a lot of depth pieces instead of star pieces. So Patrick Graham is just one of those defensive coordinators that like to run every set. So I like what we're doing so far. It's more like underrated signings than like those big splash on defense outside of Chandler Jones.
Well, you made a big splash on offense, certainly. I mean, Tyreek Hill's gone. Davante Adams, insert him into the division. Mm-hmm. Davante Adams, Fresno State teammate of Derek Carr. Derek Carr talks about Davante as a brother, a long-lost brother that's been trapped in Wisconsin for multiple years. And now they're reunited. Now they get to do a little sister-sister, get those keychain necklaces together and kind of connect them. What do you think that connection is going to look like? I mean, Devontae, listen, as nice as I could be about Derek Carr is not Aaron Rodgers. That's one thing that we should talk about. Derek Carr is not Aaron Rodgers. And Devontae was also one of the top targeted wide receivers in football last year, top 3 in targets. How does that connection kind of shape? Do you think he's going to have a similar type value to the way that he was perceived in Green Bay? I mean, Darren Waller's still on the offense. Hunter Renfrow is going to get his too.
Right. So I just feel like with Devontae, I think he's still going to get his, but now you got to really figure out who you're going to double. Are you going to double Waller? Are you going to double Renfrow? And now you still have a young Brian Edwards as a number 2 that could probably get open more now since you have a number 1 on the opposite side. Devontae Adams is going to get his targets, and I feel like that connection is still going to be some chemistry gel, because even though they played in college that was like 10 years, almost 8 to 10 years ago, they still have to gel on a professional level. Now, I don't know if any of you saw the press conference where Devontae Adams said they used to work out with each other every summer until they moved to Las Vegas. So the chemistry is probably still there at some point, but I still feel like now you have Carr has a lot of weapons that he doesn't have to force the ball to Devontae Adams. It's like, how Aaron Rodgers had to force the ball to Devontae Adams because you couldn't really rely on Lazard or Martez Scatlin over there in Green Bay. But now Devontae Adams, sometimes they can roll the coverage to Renfrow, double him, and then Devontae be open. Same thing for Waller. If Waller get double teamed, then you're going to have to go with, bro. You just have to pick your poison, like he said. You're going to have to pick your poison with that. And I feel like Derek Carr knows Devontae Adams, but I still feel like this is a brand new coach, brand new offensive scheme. It still has to gel. Same offense, the wording is going to be different, because it's a copycat league at the end of the day. The wording and the play calling is going to be named differently, but I feel like it's going to take some time. It's not going to be an immediate success. That's why we have it for 5 years. But I think later on in the season, like around week 5, week 6, we'll actually see that gel come in.
To last with the webs I'm weaving, I could change the past with all